Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back welcoming you to Stormybman Live, where tonight's topic of discussion will be fraudulent representation in boxing, an editorial. Yeah, just a little conversation about some things that have been happening in the sport more and more frequently, and with more of the type of energies that we do not have an appreciation for. And I think it's time to start banging the drum, sounding the alarm for the culprits who are continuously trying to strip the sport of its essentials and water it down just for that fast buck. We're seeing so much of it now, man. It is utterly ridiculous. But a great deal of it has to do with the promoters and managers and television networks in the sport who work in conjunction with these parties. So to have a small discussion on that, hoping to open up again, as I often try to do, the avenues of discussion for things that should be spoken about, and things that if we come together collectively as a community, we can have a huge role in turning this corner. But you have to want it. You have to want it for the sport that you profess to love. You have to want it for yourself. You have to want it for the participants of the sport that you love. So, with that being said, that's, what tonight's topic is. And we're going to, pay attention to these things. I want to say salute to everybody that's out there Smash the like button as you come in. I know there's some other things going on and other channels right now, but you know, Stormy B, man, even when I had the Three Wise Men of Boxing collaboration with our dearly departed brother Curtis Anderson, aka Kurt Sugar, and Scrapbook Boxing, you know, we would have it on Thursday nights. And I will still maintain to bring you some type of content on Thursday evenings as I can. And I have a mixture of materials that I can bring to you on Thursday. So it doesn't always have to be strictly boxing content, but like 80% of it will be. And then we have other things that we can do as well. That's the whole point of trying to do this, and do it with you in mind. Because again, as a content creator, I look to try to have not only the ear to the ground of what really drives your pulse, but also I'm open to the interests that you have as well. It's always important to pay attention to your audience and what really drives them, what they want to see from you. So, you know, with that being said, again, this is why we're here. And also, I'd like to open up this evening with some very sad news. Okay, it came down the pipeline just a couple of hours ago that we lost another heavyweight legend in the sport of boxing today, the great Ernie Shavers, the Dark Destroyer. He succumbed to the powers that be, which is the Most High, today at the age of 78. Ernie Shavers was a tremendous fighter, boxer, puncher from the heavyweight division out of Alabama. Alabama produces some natural athletes, man, and we have to respect the athletes that they bring forward, huh? Ernie Shavers wrapped his career in 1995, November of 95, with a KO loss to Brian Yates. He was stopped in 2 rounds. That was his final fight of his career. But he had a couple of victories prior to that in a career that lasted. He basically had 2. He debuted in November of 1969, and he fought until 1995. He was an orthodox fighter, stood 6 foot tall, had a 79-inch reach, very long arms for his height, and bulldozing, what do they call them? Hammer fist this brother had. In 89 bouts, he finished with a record of 74-14 with 1 draw. And 68 of his 74 victories were KOs, and he, out of his 14 losses, he was stopped 7 times himself. Now, the funny thing about Ernie Shavers was he always had a bit of a stamina problem. Though he did go the distance in a few fights, Ernie always had trouble burning himself out, wearing out. And his draw came to Jimmy Young, believe it or not, in November of 1974. Jimmy Young was a classic boxer who was knocked down in the 4th round, but got up to box his way to safety and earned a draw against the hammer-fisted Ernie Shavers. Ali once remarked that Ernie Shavers hit him so hard that it shook his kinfolks in Africa. And Ali was also a very gracious champion when Ernie Shavers had found himself in need of finances because his mom had needed an operation or whatever, and Ali gave Shavers a title shot. that would provide him with the economic means off of that fight to take care of his family. Now, see, that's the thing, people. Ali, the champion, giving back. He didn't give the man a loan or just forward money. He gave him a shot at the title. What they do in the ring, that's how they earn their keep. And the man was able to maintain and hold on to dignity and know that he earned his wares, because he tried to get Ali out of there. He tried to win the heavyweight title, and he had a couple of shots at the title, one with Ali and then one with his nemesis, Larry Holmes. And he came up short both times. But the thing about it was he could hang his head high because he was given that opportunity, you know? And that's what it's all about, man. That's what it's all about. So it is with heavy hearts that we come today with this news, and just an amazing guy. And Ernie was also a very nice guy outside of the ring as his years stretched in life. But his younger years, he was a ruffian. Okay, we'll leave it at that and understand that, you know, ruffians had a penchant for trying to earn a buck in the streets. And if you look at the movie Rocky, the original Rocky film, you saw that Rocky was a ruffian from the streets. So just kind of put that together and know what we mean when we talk about that. But yeah, it's with sadness that we have to announce and acknowledge today on the Stormybman channel that we lost another great from the annals of boxing, man. And he will be missed. We do have film and tape of him and his classic bouts, and we would love to revisit some of his fights on this channel in the near future. One of the fights that was a dream matchup that never took place was the thought of Ernie Shavers matching up against Big George Foreman. Man, that would have been like King Kong versus Mecha Kong. We never got a chance to be graced with that type of history. But with these two men, you could be resting assured that somebody was going to get knocked out in that one, man. That one right there. You know what I'm saying? Big George and Ernie. What a dream match, huh? They should put those two brothers on a video game so we could just go at it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, that's what they brought, man. That's what they brought to us. So, you know, just acknowledging it, man. Just acknowledging it. But let me take a moment to go back to the chat, see who we got in the building. We got, let's see if I can pull this back up here. For the family in the building, smash that like button, people. Big homie Coop in the building saying salute, Sifu. Backsmack the like button, people. Class is in session, so pay attention, and salute to all the family in the chat. That's my man, Big homie Coop, always showing that love and support. I appreciate you so much, brother. Signature Sounds in the building saying, what's good with you, OG Stormy B? What's good with you, man? Good to see you back with us, Signature Sounds. William, Old School Ardent, is out there saying, salute, my brother. Y'all smash the like button when entering the building. Yep, and take your hat off. I know you got some nappy hair with them big old afros and that stuff y'all be having, them twists and stuff on your head. Make it look like you're wearing a hat on the inside. Cut the stuff off, man. Get a haircut and look clean cut so somebody will give you an opportunity to come into their establishment without, you know, stereotyping you and berating you and things of that nature. There, you know what I'm saying. There's that. Antonio MMA in the building saying salute Sensei, salute to you. Curtis Price out there saying right on 1000, amen. Renee Box Young in the building saying Mr. Stormy B, my guy. What's good with you, Renee? Good to see you. He said, dang, I love the background, man. Yeah, Stormy is like, you know, I'm always doing some stuff with my backdrops and everything, man. You know, this is the Windy City, man, and we have a beautiful skyline out there, huh? But what y'all can't see is the crime because we zoomed out across the lake. You know, the camera was set up on the other side because if we on that side showing the lake out front, we might get shot or something. So had to get far away from the action, huh? And the bullets couldn't reach over here. So that's why you see me sitting out there like that. And we all good, huh? Yeah. Signature Sound says, Kurt Sugar, we miss you, OG. Yeah, Signature. And that's Kurt with the K, brother. K-U-R-T. Yes, sir. With the K. You know, we want to acknowledge our brother correctly. He was really one hell of a gentleman. And I do sorely miss him, man. I really do. Renee Box Young says, oh, no, man. Yeah, we lost him, man. William is saluting. Renee. Diana's out there. Salute to you, Diana. How you doing this evening? She says, Stormy, family, salute to all. Salute to you as well. Renee Box Young says, amazing record. Wow, man. Yeah, Ernie was something else, man. He was something else. He says, a whole bunch of fights, man. Wow. Yeah. Diana says, may he rest in peace. Absolutely. William says, R.I.P. Ernie Shavers, prayers for his family. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Curtis Price saying, Stormy B, man, all boxers should look at the movie Video Face Ali. Yeah, man. MPWTF is in the building saying, salute Sensei and salute chat family. Salute to you as well, bro. And Curtis Price says he will knock you dead. Talking about Ernie Shavers. Man, do you remember that fight he had with Larry Holmes? I think it was their rematch when he hit Larry with that overhand right, and Larry hit the canvas and bounced on the canvas like a basketball, and it looked like Larry was dead. But he woke up and he got up. But he crawled up the ring post and the ropes and pulled himself off that canvas, but he was shaking his head like, ooh, trying to clear his head. And I don't even know why people shake their head like that, because if the brain is already jostled in your skull, when you shake your head like that, it ain't going to clear things up for you. But we just think psychologically that that's going to help. Right? Shake your head like this. Let me get it straight. Man, Ernie Shavers hit Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes later described it. He said he thought he saw a camera flash, like when they take your picture, like, and it was Shavers hitting it, and his board short-circuited. Larry hit that canvas, man, and bounced on the canvas, man. Boy, I tell you, Larry Holmes was a tough dude, man. You get hit like that by Ernie Shavers, it's over. You know, just ask Ken Norton, huh? And Ken Norton went 15 brutal rounds with Larry Holmes, but he went, what, 1 round, 2 rounds with Ernie Shavers? Man, Shavers got him out of there like he was Mike Tyson, man. Ken Norton was messed up in that fight, bro. But see, these guys fought each other, man. It's like, of course, there was a couple of fights where, you know, a couple guys didn't face one another. But, yeah, for the most part, these guys all fought each other, man. Man. Antonio is laughing. Williams laughing. MP is laughing. Y'all think that's funny, huh? Yeah, man. Ernie Shavers was like killing people, man. Bowling balls for fists. Diana's rolling. Williams says, I don't know how Larry Holmes got up. I don't know either, man. I don't know either. Larry got up from that shot and won the fight. You know what I'm saying? Diana's like, bruh. If he says, try and shake it off. Yeah, you try to clear your head. It's like you shaking your head. They ain't doing nothing but rattling the brain in your skull even more. It's like even more concussed. It's funny how we try to medicate, getting my words all jumbled up, ourselves, right? That's crazy, man. Big Texas, ATX, Cletus Smith in the building. What's good with you, Big Tex? Good to see you out there, man. Yeah, man. That is crazy, man. But Ernie Shavers was one hell of a fighter. Highly entertaining, man. Yeah, highly entertaining. That brother said, wow, boom, Larry was out. William says the old timers wanted the smoke. They wanted to fight each other. Yes, they did, man. And sometimes it wasn't even about the money. It was like, I want to see if that dude as good as they say he is. Let me get in there and test him out. And be getting knocked out. And they be like, well, he is as good as they said he was. And then they all become friends afterwards. You see him at the Hall of Fame hugging and stuff. They be like, hey, bro, what's happening? You know? Man, they could teach these guys of today a thing or two, right? They really could. That's why I talk about them, man. It's like, y'all think, oh, I just like the old guys because it's a different era. No, it's because it was more respectable, man. It was more something to look into when you see these men competing with one another, man, doing their thing. You know? But that's just something that, you know, to pay attention to, bro. Something to pay attention to. MP says, going to work and want tests. Yeah, man. Yeah. They could show these guys something up today, man. Diana says, like with Tank, is it true he was offered before Kambosos, but Tank said no? Does anyone know? Well, it's his people more than it is Tank. Tank only talks after decisions have been made. But whomever his management and promoter, you know, the money team, whatever it is, they don't want him fighting the other quality oppositions right now unless those oppositions are limited or they have advantages. And I don't know why that is, because Tank is such a talent that how many times have you heard us out here in the community when we speak of him, we say things like, take the training wheels off the guy. Let him go on out there and do his thing. You know, they've been developing his career with the formula that Floyd Mayweather Jr. finished his career with, fighting a lot of non-athletic, non-black fighters, fighters who are limited in their mobility and things of that nature and can't get out of the way, who don't have necessarily fast twitch muscles or hand speed, you know, plotters and things of that nature. And he has advantages against those guys. His biggest disadvantage, I believe, is that Tank is such a short guy that it's not like he's going to be able to do like some of the other fighters, just continue to move up till he get to a maximum weight. No, even if he goes to something like 140, the guys at 140 are really so much naturally bigger than him that he could fight some 140 pounders, but 135 is going to be it for him, because the other men are just too big, and they have long reaches and they have advantages that they could take over him. So I do understand why his management is not rushing to put him in there with anyone. But I don't understand the lack of confidence that they show in him, because he can be a little bit better than what we've seen, I believe. And if he loses a fight, he loses a fight. Trying to protect someone's record is like trying to keep them safe in the world. You can't keep anyone safe in the world. As soon as you walk outside the door, you could be struck by lightning, or trip and fall on your forehead or something. There's no, listen, fate is fate. And he is the so-called money man around those weights. So it's not like he won't get compensation, But there are guys that we would just love to see him face. His contemporaries, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, Teofimo, Vasily Lomachenko, all of these guys, George Kambosos even. It's like, put him in there. Let's see. Let's see it happen. And that's a great segue into tonight's subject, because we're talking about fraudulent representation in boxing. The fraudulent representation here, people, is primarily from the promoters and / managers, but it also matriculates over into the fighters. You see, because the fighters are content with what promoters and networks have laid out before them. They've been dismayed by thinking that quality opposition is where it's at. But securing the TV contracts, staying undefeated on a network, having a title belt in your possession so we could sell championship boxing. You're going to have championship boxing anyway, but everybody can't be a champion. Some of these men are contenders. Some of these men are pretenders. And as long as we continue to get the fraudulent aspect of placing this into the boxing airwaves, casuals will continue to walk away from the sport, and diehards like ourselves, we get frustrated. We go on rants. We talk about these things, and it's just something that we have to, say that we don't have an appreciation for. Not at all. And it's time. It's time to just make certain that something gets done here. I'm testing the super chats here to see if everything works okay. You know what I mean? Because sometimes when it hasn't rang for a while, I want to just test it out and make sure that it's good. Now, you guys could test it out by sending in a little love for Stormy B. You know what I mean? Ain't no pressure. I didn't bring my pistol with me, so it ain't a stick up. Okay, because y'all be young, that dude from Chicago, man, he be trying to shake you down. Yeah, I put my mask on if I'm gonna do that. You know what I mean? Well, we gotta see. Diana says he want Tank to keep that maybe until he tries to surpass Floyd. Floyd ain't gonna let him do that. Floyd ain't gonna let him surpass him. Don't you realize? Floyd is doing things already, slowed his career down and everything. He don't even fight often enough to surpass Floyd. How many fights does Tank have now in his career? Somebody look it up real quick and write his record in the chat and the age that he is. And once you add that up, think about how much older he gonna be to get to Floyd's record of 49-0. Man, you talking about another 10 years, and Tank ain't going to be around that long to box. It just ain't going to happen. Let's see. William says, Stormy B. Man, even if the old timers tell these young fighters what they should do, will they listen? Unfortunately, I doubt that they will. Well, it's not about just the old timers sitting back, wagging their finger, telling them what to do. I'm an advocate of leading by example. You have to have a commitment, and it starts in the gym and everything with who trains these guys and puts them on track to understand what they need to know. Okay, check this out. Thesius GQ says, Tank is 27. Okay? Or is that how many fights has he had? Because if his age is 27, then think about it like this. I think he's a little older than 27 now. Ain't Tank like 28? But anyway, long story short, on what I got to say about that is this. If his age is 27, or even if he's had 27 fights, he's not 30 yet. And when Floyd fought Canelo Alvarez, he was 36 years old. That was on the downside. 27 fights. Okay. So he's way off track already. See, Floyd know what he doing. That's what he knows. So if Floyd was 36 when he fought when he fought Canelo, think about it. Now, you put 10 more years on him, he'll be 37. Do you think Tank will be able to survive being undefeated for 10 years? I don't think so. I don't think so. Especially with these guys, handling his career. It's something to think about. But yeah, let's get to the one guy on the top of the list setting the precedent for this fraudulent representation in boxing, and that's Canelo Alvarez. Canelo has, you know what? This is not going to be like, if the men on my list here, because I wrote these names down, if the men on my list are people that you like, you're not going to have a good time hearing what I got to say about them. And this is not a bash fest. This is not throwing anyone down. But I'm just going to speak some facts here. Canelo Alvarez has to understand that even though he started out his career as a young guy, 16 years old or something, he turned pro or whatever. But you think about it like this. By the time he started making it to Floyd Mayweather undercards, Floyd was already setting it up that he was going to have Canelo built up on his undercards to be a big time foe for Floyd to face on one of those national independent holidays. Floyd was a money man, not pretty boy, the money man who understood business and knew how to work it, right? So Canelo was not going to be facing the type of opposition while Floyd was building him up to be defeated, because Floyd wanted to be the one to defeat him first. You understand? This is genius, people. So not only did Floyd whoop his tail, but Floyd built him up to be the fighter that y'all thought that he might have a chance against Floyd. Huh? And that was a hell of a pay-per-view too, wasn't it? Huh? So Canelo comes away from that situation thinking like, well, I could be like Floyd. But you can't, because you're not that good. You're good, but you're not that good. Floyd was great. You're good. So Canelo began to adopt a different type of formula for himself. Made his own little weight class for a while, fought certain individuals with certain advantages and things of that nature. Then he dabbled in the cheating a little bit with the performance enhancing substances and whatnot. And then he began to outright move away from people that the boxing public wanted to see him against and start making provisions for himself as to why it's not taking place. And just in the nick of time, our society start falling into this ridiculous frame of mind where just because you say something, alternative facts, doesn't mean that it is honest. Okay? But this is what they do. And those type of manipulations and machinations that they play on your mind have you wondering yourself like, well, is he really? Oh, did he? No. He avoided people. And in close shaves, he didn't want to run it back against certain individuals. Why run it back with Triple G? I have a feeling that the two of them shared something. They were familiar with one another, having done work with each other in the gym and everything. And I do believe that Triple G always felt like Canelo could not knock him out. And I feel like Canelo felt like he could just get away from Triple G enough from being knocked out. And when they came together, they fought like that. Thus, the only reason he's going to go back in there with Triple G is because he's given Triple G a few more years to age, and now he feels like he may be able to have that advantage over Triple G. Fraudulent representation in boxing. We wanted to see him fight Demetrius Andrade. We wanted to see him fight Jamel Charlo when he was around 154. We wanted to see him fight Janibek. We wanted to see him fight any of these guys that were pretty decent. But he didn't. And why didn't he? Because it has more to do with than just being a good fighter. It has more. It has something else to do. It has something to do with being a fighter that is safe kept. And the fact that these networks are overpaying him. That's easy peasy. I want to say salute. Who we got there? In the Cash App. Oh, man. Hold on. I'm trying to get my Mr. Pac-Man out there in that Cash App. Appreciate you, bro. And then we have, okay, we got another person out there that sent me MPWTF. I got you out there in that Cash App as well, man. Appreciate you, bro. I'm trying to read this. I'm trying not to tell people's government name out there. MP, I got you with that. And I appreciate your donation, man. I really do. But listen, Canelo even avoided at 168 tough fighters. Darrell is there. Benavidez is there. You know, Caleb Plant was, you know. But the fight that people want to see him fight, he wasn't going to fight the likes of Joe Smith. He wasn't going to fight the likes of Artur Beterbiev. Those are too much risky fights where he could actually get hurt. If you saw Dimitri Bivol banging him up against the ropes and everything, what in the hell do you think that David Benavidez is going to do? What in the hell do you think that Artur Beterbiev is going to do? Slaughter. Huh? He's going to look like he's at the slaughterhouse. That's exactly what they're going to do to him. As they should. Yeah. What we got? Jason William in the building. He says, peace, Stormy B, and peace to everyone in attendance. Salute to you. Diana calls him the stain of boxing. Successful hustler in the building saying Floyd doesn't want him to have the prestige, but the money, he can have it. Floyd wants all the legacy. And you can better believe he's going to take his cut on the money too. Jason says, I agree. Floyd worked that plan to perfection. Champion Heart says, salute to Sensei, Stormy B Man, and my brothers and sisters in the chat. Facts. Nobody wants to see Canelo fight Triple G again. Diana says, exactly, at Champion. If I had to watch, I hope Gennady gets rid of this dude with the UD or even a split decision. Listen, this is the funny thing that I said about that fight. Because of his style, where he comes from, Triple G could do the same thing to Canelo if he elects to that Dimitri Bivol did. All he's got to do is throw more combinations and take some of the power off the shots, make his hands move. That's that Pro-Am style. Vasily Lomachenko does it. Dimitri Bivol does it. There's a few other guys that do it as well. See, Canelo takes photos a lot. He likes to pose, posture, try to bob, weave, get ready for a counter. But you can't counter if the punches are coming in volume. That's the difference. Diana says, Canelo is truly a beta. Just because you fight doesn't mean you have courage. Canelo is a slave to his talent. He's not an achiever. Plus, don't forget this other important factor that I pointed out tonight on this show, Diana, that a lot of guys don't talk about, but he said it himself so many times. Floyd built him. Floyd built him. He didn't go out there and set the world on fire. He fought a hell of a lot on Floyd's undercards, and they built him to a crescendo, and Floyd was the crescendo. A lot of people don't talk about that. See, when De La Hoya was doing his thing as a young man, he fought in gradation. He fought like this guy, then he fought that guy, then he fought that guy. And as long as he was winning, he was willing to press the envelope. Now, he didn't just go full-fledged into fights with guys who had a ton of experience that could really take his ass to school. But he went in against guys in opposition where his talent was good enough, and as long as his spirit was there to compete, that he could actually come out on top if he worked hard. And that's the difference between Oscar and some of these guys of today. If he had fought Julio Cesar Chavez a couple of years earlier than he did, Julio would have got him. But by the time he got in there with Julio, he was just confident enough that he was capable. And it showed. I remember an interview he did post-fight. I don't remember which fight. He's standing there with Larry Merchant, and he was asked, are you ready to go in and take on the likes of Julio Cesar Chavez? And he said, no, not yet, Larry. He was like, those guys are the big dogs right now. He was like, I'm just a little chihuahua in this sport right now. That was one of the most honest assessments that I heard a young prospect, which he was not a prospect anymore. He had been a world champion a couple of times over, but he was going up in weight, but he wasn't ready for Chavez yet. And even though he had sparred Chavez and everything, he wanted to make sure that when he went in there, that he had the advantages. And he did. So if you wait your season, it can happen for you. But if you're not trying to get better like that, like Canelo doesn't want to fight certain individuals. He doesn't want to face certain styles. Why? Maybe one reason is because he's got bad wheels. Those knees are the knees of an 86-year-old dude, former NBA player. Those are the knees that Canelo got. He can't move if he wanted to. So he ain't got time to be trying to get the hell out of a way of a young lion pursuing him. And he don't have the athleticism to chase down a guy who is mobile and agile enough to keep giving him angles and stuff like Floyd did. Yeah. So keep fighting guys who will stand there and let you pound on them or get your good shots in and break them down and stuff like that. And they'll be overwhelmed by your aura because you're the big name in a sport and everything. And you're selling out these stadiums and stuff. And they say, wow, I'm actually in here with this guy. And that plays hell on some guys who haven't achieved anything. Yeah. Not former Olympians and everything, because when you've been on the Olympic stage, that's the world right there. So why would you be afraid of a little old guy out of Sinaloa, huh? Yeah. Yeah. Champion Heart says, facts. Nobody talks about that. J. Wayne Citizen, why are Canelo's knees so bad? Is it a training issue? It probably has something to do with the weight, J. Wayne Citizen, because he blows up and fights at an artificial weight. Yeah. All that stress on your legs, man, especially if you're not the most mobile guy to begin with, because it ain't like he out here playing pickup games of one-on-one. You understand? And if you're taking PEDs, it harms your soft tissues and cartilages. Yeah. Big time. Diana says, Canelo is a slave to Mammon. Lost his gift a long time ago. Yeah, and trading them in for silk shirts, pajama shirts, and all of that stuff. Very effeminate stuff. All these men walking around with these tight clothes on and stuff. I don't mind seeing a woman's figure in tight clothes. A woman is shapely, you know, that's her gifts from the gods. But why are these guys out here dressing like that? Body shirts and stuff. And don't tell me, oh, well, if he's got the physique for it. Man, listen. There was a time when you had Lou Ferrigno and Arnold Schwarzenegger, okay? Them guys. Bruce Lee, them guys, right? Figures like that, masculine. And the brothers look at him and say, man, that dude got some muscle. He's in shape. But nobody was like, I want to be Arnold. I want to be Lou, huh? Brothers was just who they was. Now you got all these guys running around here with capri pants on and muscle shirts, they call them, and all of that stuff, man. If you don't get out of here with that foolishness, man. Diane says, yes, Stormy. Yep, real bad, too. Jason says, yes, sir, Stormy B. Yep, them needles will destroy the soft tissue. Yeah, I know. Big time. Yeah. Yeah. Diana says, say that, Stormy, effeminate. Yeah. Listen, Diana, it's just like this. Yeah, it's okay if you had one of them dudes that was a sculpted Adonis, right, or whatever. But at the end of the day, do you know he really gonna be looking at himself in the mirror more than he looking at you, huh? That's why you get your brother with, you know, got a little pushing, the cushion for the pushing here. Hey, you know, you pat him on that belly and be like, that's right, baby, that's where tonight's dinner's going, huh? You ain't gotta worry about nothing, cause he gonna be right there, huh? But that dude with all them cuts and everything, you have to be worried about where else he being cut. Yeah. I ain't got to tell you. Figure that out yourself. Dwayne Wade, huh? Think about it. Unscripted says, yep, facts, Stormy. He's laughing. Diana says, facts. 100. 704 Joe is out there saying peace. Champion Heart is laughing. Yeah. I'm telling you the truth, man. Huh? That's right, Jason. Your mission is to keep being a male model for your son and a man model for your son. Not just a male, but a man model for him, huh? JC is out there saying sensei in chat. Salute. Using those channel emojis. Appreciate that, bro. JC. But yeah, another one on the list. Ryan Garcia, who ironically was in the Canelo camp for a little while till he was ousted. Now, whatever reason Ryan left their camp, whether he wasn't man enough, macho enough, whatever, he gone. And Ryan still hasn't stepped up to the plate of competitiveness in the sport. You cannot continue to run around and be a novelty act. Huh? You have to be someone that is marketable in the sense of doing something in that ring. And that's where the mismatches come in that they pull, huh? With these sanctioning bodies and networks and promoters. These mismatches that you see these guys getting in the ring, always fighting somebody that the opponent don't have a chance in hell of defeating them. You have to be really horrible to defeat a guy like a Ryan Garcia, because they're not going for the guys who really can whoop him. Isn't it strange how they start talking about all of a sudden, once Devin Haney won the undisputed titles, the belts don't matter anymore. They're not even confident that they can defeat Devin Haney boxing him. It's not like Devin is blowing through the division like Mike Tyson or something. The kid can box. He's got good skills. He's got decent defense. But if you're not going to compete, why is the belts not a issue anymore of any significance or consequence anymore? That's you. You're the one. And Ryan has ducked and pulled out of fights and made some issues and everything and done. It's like, man, just go away, brother. Go away. You're a walking novelty act. There's something else I wanted to share with you all off of this evening. There was a interview that Teddy Atlas did on his podcast. And since we came out of last week's fights, that top rank card with all those young prospects and young fighters on there, he said something that I talked about. Totally talked about. Teddy did. He said something that I talked about. And it's great hearing it come from him because he puts it in a different perspective. So I want you guys to hear this.
Welcome to The Fight with Teddy Atlas, presented by Dynamic Striking. I'm Ken Rideout, joined as always.
Ken Rideout and Teddy Atlas have a podcast that they do, but they talked about something coming out of this recent broadcast that I couldn't help but share this with you guys because it let me know when I did my post-fight show the things I talked about. It's like, it's right on, man. It's spot on. Check this out. Check this out. I want you guys to listen to this.
And all those metrics help us, increase our relevance and let people know that we have this show that is a staple in the combat sports arena. So thank you to everyone.
Yeah, give those 5-star reviews, will you guys? 5 stars,
Yep.
baby. Go ahead, take us away there, Ken, because there was only one fight who slowed down. It slowed down this past weekend.
Slow weekend.
But
slow weekend as the summer winds down. But Pedraza and Jose Pedraza, Richard Comey had a very competitive fight. But before we get into that fight, both guys basically fighting for their careers, I would think. They both needed to win. But before we got to the main event, we got to take a trip to the slaughter farm and watch a bunch of sacrificial lambs get fed to the lions, essentially. These fights were so non-competitive. It's so non-competitive that to the point, like, I'm thinking, are these promoters not concerned about getting someone hurt here?
Now, did you hear that? He spoke, Ken Rideout said, this was so alarming that these fights were not competitive at all. Is anyone concerned about getting someone hurt here? See, this is what I'm talking about when I said fraudulent representation in boxing. I want you guys to listen closely because I will play this soundbite and allow you to hear, because Teddy Atlas doesn't bite his tongue, but Ken Rideout is the one who is really leading that conversation because he could see it. And if he could see it, where he's basically a novice, right? He's a guy, he's been there with Teddy now and everything, but it's like he's not as versed as Teddy is. You know what I'm saying? Or even myself. But at the same time, he know what he's looking at. Listen to this. It's very important, people.
You're putting in inexperienced, unqualified pros with legitimate fighters in some cases, and you're going to get someone hurt. I mean, that, what's the kid's name? Richard Torres? You're going to have a death on your hands if you keep letting people get in there with a heavyweight that can punch like that. That was insane. It was scary. The guy's face down on the canvas. I mean, guys, you got to get someone in there that's competitive with the kid, at least competitive, not one-sided, complete sacrifice of a lamb. It was sad to see, but what were your thoughts on that undercard?
yeah, well,
See, now Ken was saying what I said in my post-fight show. I talked about the referee needing to be fired, never brought back in a boxing match at all. I talked about the fact that they didn't even have people, but the fact also I spoke on was that kid did not belong in the ring with Torres. He did not belong in there. And if you put that kid in there just so Torres, could have a knockout on television, there's something wrong with you. Because that kid has a family. He's trying to do something for a living to earn a buck like anybody, but he did not deserve to be put in a situation where he could have died like that. They would have been better off putting Torres in with Efe Ajagba. And I'm not trying to diminish Ajagba, but wasn't Ajagba in originally a 10-round fighter, and he fought an 8-rounder? And I think that Torres' fight was scheduled for 6 rounds or 8 rounds. So it was like, why not put him in there with Ajagba? But see, they don't think like that, right? But it's okay for the kid that was hurt in this fight. I don't like it. And I'm glad these men are talking about it. Check it out.
it's what they always saw. They're doing what they want to do. The top-ranked promoters, they're doing what they can get away with. They're doing what they did in the 70s and 80s, if we're going to be quite honest, and that's what we are. We're honest. We're transparent about it.
You see, now Teddy is getting ready to go into the history of it a little bit. He said they did this, Top Rank did this in the 70s and 80s while Don King was putting on real championship caliber fights, Top Rank and Bob Arum were putting on this kind of stuff. And a lot of guys were getting their heads handed to them because they were in mismatches, gross mismatches, that saw them be embarrassed, literally. Now, Teddy goes on to mention the networks and how they sign these contracts with the networks, and they get these fighters, whether they're good amateurs or Olympic type amateurs, and they sell them on the pipe dreams of, we'll get you on TV, everybody will know your name, you'll be a household name and stuff like that. All the while knowing that they're matching these guys up with guys who don't belong in the ring with them. Now check this out. There's one Top Rank fighter whose name on the list is Big. And he is also one that they've done this for, and 2 times now he's come up short. And that's Vasily Lomachenko. Yeah, did I dare say that? Vasily Lomachenko, who lost to Orlando Salido and then later Teofimo Lopez, but had been fed a host of fighters that he was mismatched over. He should not have been in there with Guillermo Rigondeaux, not at the weight class that they fought, and he refused to budge 1 iota of an ounce against Guillermo. And then he didn't want to meet up with Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney or any of those guys. They paid off Nicholas Waters. They paid that kid off. You cannot tell me that Nicholas Waters stopped Nonito Donaire's trajectory. Vic Darchinyan was battered and banged up. He couldn't be there. Okay? But Nonito got stopped by Waters. Waters was on an upward trajectory, and they went to him and say, hey, man, since you got so much stardust under your feet, how about we give you a few extra dollars and you go out there and you just kind of, wing it against Vasily. And then wherever you want to go after this, we'll set you up. I said it.
Have no agendas. We don't have farm meals. I don't give a damn if people like it or don't like it. I just care that it needs to be said. It hurts our sport. At the end of the day, there's a price to pay to the networks. They don't realize it, but there is, because back in the 70s and 80s, Top Rank was with ESPN, and after 20 years, they turned it into a farm system like they're doing now. The same formula. It's no different. And they signed up their amateurs. They told them you could be on TV. They used the money from TV to sign them. They told them that early in your career, you're going to be on TV, sign with us. And what they do, they went about putting them in with non-competitive, more or less, even worse. Like you said, it's like watching a lion get raw meat. I mean, if you want to watch a lion track down a gazelle out in the wilderness and slaughter it, put on a nature channel. You know what I mean? But not on ESPN on boxing. But like I said, they did it in the 70s and 80s. Finally, it ran its route. It chased the audience completely away. The executives they finally woke up and they saw the bottom line, and they got rid of them, and then they went with a new program called Friday Night Fights, which I was part of. And you know what? We excelled. We excelled for 18 years. And the formula there was use different promoters every week. So there's competitiveness that they don't get comfortable. It's not one promoter that has a deal for 20 years and it doesn't matter what he gives you, what crap he gives you. You have to put good fights on. So every week a different promoter would put a show on, and if it wasn't up to snuff, he wouldn't get another shot at it. Some other promoter would get a shot to step in there and do it. And what they do and what they're doing, if you haven't noticed by now, is, they sign up these Olympic kids. Again, they tell them they're going to be on TV. They use the money that they get from ESPN. They sign them up. And then for the next 2 to 3 years, that's about what it takes to develop a young kid. They just, they feed them raw meat. Okay, to build up their records to 14, 15, 16, 17 and 0. And then they go and get them a title fight, hope they win a title, and then they can tell the executives, see, we got champions. But again, there's a price to pay because you're scorching earth. You're scorching earth because you're going to do the same damn thing you did in the 70s and the 80s. The same thing. Yeah, you throw a bone. You put a good main event on once in a while. But boy, oh boy, those other fights. And like you said, to your point, it's a responsible point. Someone's going to get hurt.
You see? And I'm going to tell you something. I've always loved Teddy's passion when he's making his points because he's being very genuine when he says these things. I just don't like the bias that is sometimes reflected when it is directed in particular directions, that, I'm the same across the board. You understand? I don't have favorites in the sport anymore. Not that I'm accusing him of having favorites, but sometimes he will fold his hands when he should be opening up his palms in certain circumstances that he knows better. Like, he wouldn't say what he needed to say about the Tyson Fury situation. And I don't like that because Teddy, you got the experience. But still, in this area right here, he's 1,000% spot on because what they've sold, Top Rank has sold ESPN, is the fact that we got a stable, a farm of young fighters destined to be champions. And then they roll out this cart full of Uber and Lyft drivers and construction workers and carpenters and painters and bakers and, dice men from the alley and everything. And they go in there and they suit up and they get their heads handed to them by these contracted fighters that Top Rank has gathered together. And you look at these young guys and you say, wow, that's a great young prospect. He looks like the next Sugar Ray Leonard or whatever, right? And the thing about it is, he's looking like that against who? A guy that doesn't even freaking belong in the ring with him. And though they say, oh, he has a record of 9-4 or something like that, he may not have even had that many fights. That's something that they fix for the television screen. If you think I'm lying, did they not change Vasily Lomachenko's record to undefeated when he was sitting ringside watching boxing? And they showed his record on the screen and they showed him as undefeated? I heard that Orlando Salido threw his whole six-pack at the television screen in his house and broke his television watching that crap. And so this is the kind of thing that we're talking about, but you have to say it. And Teddy, they fired him from ESPN for saying certain things that needed to be said, people. They needed to be said. They fire him and Max Kellerman gets a promotion. Now you tell me, is something slick in the oil? Is something slick in the oil? Salute to my man Drew Titan out there. I see you, Drew. Eric R in the building too. I see you, Eric. Sheena is in the building. Salute to you, Sheena. The boxing session, TBS in the building. I see you guys. I'm just cooking on this subject right now. And I have to get back to my sound bite because you guys need to hear this, man.
But the executives, if it was football, baseball, basketball, any of the other major sports, they'd notice. But you know what the problem is, Ken? first of all, it takes up a slot of TV time. You know, it fills a slot of TV time they have to fill. Programming, right? Everyone needs programming if you own a network. So and it's cheap compared to hockey and basketball and baseball and football. Even though it's $90,000, they got to pay Top Rank a year, or $90 million a year, whatever. That's what it was at the beginning. And they had a 4-year deal, then they extended to 7 years. It's still small compared to the other major sports as far as what they have to pay for programming. But what the problem is, if it was the other sports, the executives would notice and they would watch. They don't watch. They don't give a damn. They don't watch boxing. And they don't know boxing. It's the truth. They know something about baseball, something about basketball, something about hockey, something about football, of course. You know, you're familiar. You're brought up with it. But boxing, no. They really don't know. So they don't know really what's good or bad. And you get a con artist like Aram, who's really, really good, 70 years in the business of you know, bringing guys along, of conning people, of...
Did you hear that? Bob Arum, who's got so much experience, 70 years in the business of conning people. Bob Arum. Yeah. If I had Drew's soundbite, I would say, shut the fuck up. That's Bob telling people that. Because Bob runs it like the mob, huh? And Teddy goes on to talk about how when they had that 17-year run on ESPN, it was due to bringing in various promoters, so they didn't have a house promoter. So they couldn't do those kind of things ethic-wise when you're bringing different promotional groups in. But now it's solely Bob Arum. They had a 5-year contract and they extended it to 7. Teddy's going to drop it on you guys. This is why I want you guys to hear this stuff. Because when you hear the truth, it's like, wow, you're hearing it from an experienced person. Someone who was on the inside. Someone who was right there. And don't forget, all the years of Teddy being in the gym and working with Cus D'Amato, who schooled him and let him know about the seediness of boxing. It's a lot that Teddy knows that he don't say, which is why I get angry when he withhold certain information for certain circumstances. And I mean, like, if he had come forward and spoke in favor of Deontay like he should have, it would have put a lot of shit to rest. But he didn't do that. And now simply because he hides behind the fact that Deontay wasn't the type of technical fighter that he prefers and this and that. No, you had a bias and a prejudice and a bigoted viewpoint of Deontay, Teddy. That's real. And I'm here to say that because I don't want people to get it misconstrued. Because this is not singing praise. This is actually sharing truth here. And in the midst of sharing that truth, I got to speak the facts on you as well.
Of, you know, knowing how to make how to make this Sting, like that movie years ago, the Sting with Robert Redford and Paul Newman. It was a great movie, the Sting. It won an Academy Award, where he knows how to do the hustle. You know what I mean? He knows how to schmooze. He knows how to talk to these guys, even when it comes to the commentary. Yeah, again, if they heard some of the commentary once in a while, I'm not necessarily saying just them. I'm saying across the board. But because you got a couple of ex-fighters there at ESPN, know what the hell they're doing. They do a good job. But then some of the other guys, like, and again, with some of the other networks too, if you heard some of these things, sometimes you scratch your head. What the frick is he talking about? What fight is he calling? Now, again, if an executive was even up watching, which they're not for boxing. They are for baseball, football, basketball, but not for this. But if they were, they would say, wait, that don't sound right. But when they hear something that's a little bit ridiculous, they don't know it's ridiculous. Again, they're not familiar with the sport of pugilism. So they don't know. They don't know if it's if it's good, bad, indifferent. They don't know. And that's the problem. That's why they're going to burn it up again. They're going to burn it up again. You watch. Mark my words. Mark this date down, that on this date, Teddy Atlas said that ESPN's going down the same route that they went down in the 70s and 80s. And I don't know how long it's going to take. I guess at least 7 years, because they got a 7-year contract. But eventually, they're going to realize it. They're going to wise up, and they're going to see the bottom line, and they're going to say, oh, my God. All we do is put on one-sided fights so Top Rank can build up their fighters, so they can have a stable of fighters, of champions. And we're being used. And you know what? The public, you guys, you're being used too. I mean, some of you are smart enough to get off the train, get off the track before you get run over by the train. You know, the train that's going to put you to sleep, the train called Sominex. That's the name of it, Sominex Express, by the way. Yeah, you're smart enough to see and say, hey, I ain't paying into this. I'm not buying into this. But a lot of fans go along. They love the sport. They go along. It takes them a long time to wise up. But they're making suckers, really. They've been down this road. They're good at it. They're making suckers out of everybody. They really are. And again, you get a bone. You get the bone every once in a while. Okay, appreciate it. I wish there was a little more meat on the bone. But hey, it's nice to get a bone every once in a while. But I had to say that, you know, it's the truth. It's one of the reasons why I'm not commenting or commentating anymore, obviously there. But now we'll get to the Pedraza.
Yeah. So, that was what he had to say on that, people. And I'm glad I ran across that, because when I heard him speaking on that, I was like, you know what? This is the nucleus of my show tonight, because I had to be able to come to you guys and bring you something that you need to hear. Even if you've watched that already, that's fine. And that's great. I don't see everything. I'm like my brother Drew when I say I don't see everything. I don't hear a lot of things. I'll get second, if not third hand nature. But I'm always open to receive the information. And I know when I'm hearing facts. This man just gave you a lot. He talked about Top Rank in a nutshell. And all them guys over there that you've been watching. Huh? Elvis, Zayas, those guys, all of them guys that they've been building up and building up and building up. A house of cards that is going to collapse because people are getting fed up. And I'm going to tell you, this past weekend's card with that kid Torres, what he did, I mean, that right there, if that doesn't light a fire under people, I mean, what if that young man died? And I'm not wishing it on anyone, believe me when I say that. But let's just take a walk on the seediest side of possibilities. What if that young man died? We were watching boxing on television, the undercard, the opening fight of the undercard of the main card, and we saw something like that. Really? But Bob Arum wants to wash his hands of other people, right? Disassociate himself from other people when he's been in the bed with them the entire time. You can't make this shit up, people. You can't. The mismatches, setting guys up in fights that there is no way they can lose unless they came to the ring with their arms tied up and their legs tied together. Selling pipe dreams to fighters that they sign contracts to. You're going to be on TV. Everybody in your household will know and other households will know your name. Know your name. And the kids don't know because a lot of times they'll get someone in your camp, the one who they can buy. And that's the person that's not going to say a bad thing about their operations. Bomac. They'll be right there in your ear telling you, hey man, this is a hell of a deal. This is like, these people are good people to you. They good masters to you. Huh? You's a good boss. Your childhood friend who's been with you through thick and thin will be the main one to turn on you. And what are you going to do? Go out in the world and get some new friends? Or are you going to stick with the people who've been always there with you? I'm saying it because it happens every day. Boxing is the sport that the fighters are like prostitutes. The promoters are the pimps. And when they say, I don't give a damn about you, what you got to say, bud, you get back out there and get me my money. Yeah, William, that's the only thing. If he would have said something about those men and their events, I would have forgiven him for a lot. But because he chose the road that he did, I am still forever going to be on his neck. And he will always say something that is fact-based and you can take it to the test. But his biased, bigoted, prejudiced ways will keep him right where he needs to remain, right within the sights, the scope on the sniper's rifle. Stealing the network money, because the networks will pay a certain amount to Top Rank, and Top Rank will have a pot to spread amongst these young fighters. That's why Bob don't want to pay nobody when they become well known and start to command a higher purse. You keep them small and you shrink their bellies. Anyone who was good always had to break their relationship with him. Anyone who was good. These are the kind of things, man. I don't like to spend a lot of time talking about them, but you know that I'm aware because I can share it just like others. Yeah, and you're right, Diana. That's why he locked Dev in, and he got Dev at a low ball price too. Look at that, huh? A man who was independent, a man who should be commanding a greater percentage of the change, right? But in order to become the undisputed champion, they made him take peanuts. That's why it would serve Dev well to, in this rematch against Kambosos, just to end that guy. Get him out of there. Inside the distance. Get him out of there. Go to work. I just wanted to be able to come out here and share some stuff with you guys. Like I said, I ain't come out here to take up too much of your time or whatever, but I wanted to cook on that. I wanted to let you know exactly what it is. And remember, all you got to do is go back and check out my post-fight show after last Saturday's events. I spoke these things fresh off the dome. And here comes this man, far more experienced with the inside than I am, and he tells you exactly what you need to hear. Exactly what you need to hear. Yeah. Well, that's about it for me for this evening, man. I just wanted to come out here and talk about this a little bit, let you guys know some things, and let you know my thoughts. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to get on out of here. We got the Friday night chop session tomorrow evening, and we'll be back for that. And this weekend, we got the heavyweights coming up Sunday. So looking forward to that. But I want to say shout out to the mighty LDBC. And you guys take it easy. You know? But that's about it, man. That's about it. Yeah, I appreciate you guys too, man. I really do. But have a great evening, man, and great weekend coming up. Catch you guys out there on the airwaves. I'll see you guys in the chats, and hopefully you'll be back for mine on Friday night. So peace to everybody, man. I'm out.